Hey, so I think there you are.
Hello, hello.
Hi, so nice to see you.
Nice to see you. How are you, Carmen?
I'm good. I'm super excited about our conversation because I love our conversations and we have them when we're on the phone with each other, but it's going to be a real privilege to be able to share just, some of the sound bites that you've given me when we've had talks about why you make art, your
Mm,
intentions behind art, and obviously the combination of that in, what is going to be our upcoming project that will happen on Valentine's Day.
yay.
What a perfect moment to be co-creating with you. So cool.
So nice to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. Um, so Miguel, let's have a conversation just to start off with. So you're a multi-instrumentalist. You collaborate with so many different artists and bands and also videographers in
Mm,
visual media.
mm,
So can you talk a little bit about your backstory? Like how did you get into what it is that you do?
mm. I was lucky enough to grow up in beautiful Topanga Canyon. And so with the backdrop of just a wildly beautiful, diverse, profound, deep nature, I also had two parents from an ethnically diverse background that raised me with this appreciation of all cultures and that all cultures matter, all cultures are needed, all cultures are relevant, all cultures have an infinitude of things to share with us, to teach us. And so I was incredibly fortunate. And apparently I told my mom at age 4 that I wanted to start violin lessons, and I was lucky enough to be given that opportunity. So I've been studying music practically my whole life. I'm 45 years old now, and I still feel like I'm at the beginning of my journey, but I have this deep um, yearning to not only continue to grow as an individual, but to share with the world just how many incredible options we have in every moment, to open our heart, to open our mind,
Mm-hmm.
solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're very well aware of all the, or not all, but many of the challenges that exist today for us as individuals or as families or as communities or as countries. And those challenges are very real and um, very pressing. In addition to that, I think we have a lot of solutions at our fingertips, some of which we're aware of,
Yeah.
and some of which we may not be aware of. So one of my goals is to not only grow as an individual every day, but specifically raise my vibration.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but to share a life, share art that allures people to step into their own infinite magic, their own infinite solutions, and step into, okay, yes, it might be really challenging, it might be really scary, it might be really confounding or confusing, but there's an infinitude of what we can do today to move forward towards not only our individual dreams, but these pathways that can um, lessen the bonds that we may have as people and as groups. There's a lot that we can do today. So that's basically my goal, is to free us via freeing myself and raising my own vibration, and then trust that that vibration will be imbued in the art.
So, in what ways have you seen, this path and this journey succeed? Can you talk about like some moments where you felt, like the aha?
Yeah, it's every day. It's in conversations like this, but it's one thing, right? To the words that we say to ourselves or each other, and I do think words are actions, but I think we do need that proof every day,
Hmm.
so that we're not just spinning our wheels or waxing poetic or something. I'm at the point now where I see that proof throughout the day, every day. For me, it looks like it's usually through conversations,
Hmm.
or emails I receive,
Hmm.
or comments on my social media. But I receive messages every single day, whether it's from my 5-year-old Sebastian, or my partner Andrea, whose birthday it is today. Happy birthday, Andrea.
Happy birthday.
Um, or the hundreds of students that I've taught for free over the last couple of years, or I'll get messages of people tell me that my music made them cry or made them think of a family member that's passed on that has meant the world to them. So it's really people pouring out their hearts, and mostly in private messages to me,
Yeah.
that let me know that either a lesson that I taught them, or a work of art that I've created and released, what is done for them, but some type of awakening,
Hmm.
something that's like
I love
very
that word. Yeah.
some type of very tangible, very real, authentic epiphany, where people are telling me, look, at you helped me cross that threshold of challenge, or you soften my heart. I keep on reminding myself of Kafka's quote that books exist to break apart the frozen sea within us, and um, that's my goal as a human being, not just an artist, but as a human being, through my vibrations, that my own vibrations can break apart my own frozen sea within my own heart, within my own mind, and trusting that by doing that, I can do that for others. So
That's
I get these
beautiful.
I get these messages every day
Yeah.
that let
I
me
hope
know
you
that.
do. It's
Thank you.
important what you're creating. So I was gonna actually, my next question was just about your goals, right?
Mm,
Like sometimes we feel like when we get up in the morning as creators, like we're, like in a boxing ring, and sometimes we feel elevated. But one thing that's supportive to all people in any industry, entrepreneurial, and just that get up and go moment is the goal setting, that
mm.
vision board, that, North Star. So if I may be so bold to ask, what is your North Star?
I
What
believe in
is
world peace.
your pinnacle? Like
Yeah.
the moment of like you feeling like, I listened to an interview with a very well-known artist, and he said, when he played in front of the Olympics, 1984, 2 billion people were listening, because at that moment it was like everybody coming together, and hearing. So what for you is like a moment of like, that big moment? What does that look like? What would that look like?
For me, it probably has to do with witnessing an infrastructure in the United States and globally that recognizes that everybody intrinsically has genius and worth and relevance within them, regardless of what they look like, regardless of their religion. So I fully believe in world peace. And I think that it is attainable, not just once, but I think it's a balance that can be struck, and then that can be the baseline. of global society. So for me, what that looks like is a certain type of alignment with nature and recognizing that human beings are not more important than any other aspect of nature, and that we are nature itself, and being able to teach in the various infrastructures, not just in schools, but just have this sanctity of life that recognizes all life and the equality of all life. So when it's imbued in the various infrastructures um, in in society, that's a big deal to me personally. So those are my goals, and to be able to have any type of influence on that via my art is furthermore my goal. So um, I believe starting with myself, and then embracing my family. Like I say, I have a 5-year-old and a wife, and I I believe in supporting them. So my goals are lofty, but starting at home. And I think we all are the answer. I think we all carry the answers intrinsically, regardless of IQ or upbringing or education. So those are my goals. Anything connected to peace and happiness for every human being, and that intrinsically we're all not just equal, but like just infinitely beautiful and relevant and magical. And I think we're each part of the puzzle of life. I think there's some in it transcending IQ, transcending what we sometimes judge as intelligence or worth. But I think we all are just intrinsically part of this beautiful puzzle, this beautiful mosaic of life, and everybody has something to bring to the table. So anything that we can do to influence the infrastructures that exist in our family units, in our cities.
Well,
Um,
as an educator, you're starting on a really great note because you never know like where your scholastic teaching and your teaching, how that's going to, the people that you're impressing, these messages on, and every one of them are their own beings that will then expand into their own universes and had touch points. So I wanted to chat a little bit about like some of your, accomplishments as an artist, and through your own compositions that you create. How do you start creating a composition? Like, what is is it a feeling? Is it a passage that you read? Is it a concept? Is it a project? Like,
mm,
maybe it's different for every one of those applications, but how do you just, like start to bring music into the world?
I love to cook food, and I love the metaphor, the analogy of creation with the culinary arts. And the way that I dance with my particular ego is that I never want like too much control. I just want to be a good dance partner. And so, and the same with like cooking. I love how when I go to the farmer's market or go to the market, go to the store, I have an idea in mind. So I think it's really important, um, if not all the time, most of the time, to have an idea in mind, but then once we start to apply, those ideas, we see what ingredients, yeah,
Yeah,
are available and are
yeah,
in season,
yeah.
you know, um, and then you make the best with the ingredients. So, kind of along the lines of what Charlie Parker talked about. He said he practiced 11 to 14 hours a day for 7 hours a day. And he said, basically like do your due diligence, do everything you possibly can to be as accountable and responsible as possible. And then he said, get up to the bandstand and forget all of your prep.
Everything. Wow.
and just wail.
Yeah, yeah.
So I love that prep, and the same with like cooking a meal, or in this case, writing a 30-minute composition. So I have various lists that I've been making for years of various titles and various concepts that I find fascinating. So that's a really important aspect to me. So I have like this ongoing, multifaceted, multi-layered study of antiquity and of life, um, that it's ongoing. And so I just have like this list that spans, millennia and every culture and as many topics as possible that I find riveting, that lights me up. So that's one aspect of it. One main aspect of it, Carmen, is that I don't think ego is intrinsically bad, but I'm convinced that the best comes from integrating ego in order to transcend it. And so
Yeah.
what I mean is with the creation of an artistic project, or really anything that we're doing, um, I want to invest myself, but then be vulnerable enough to converse with the present moment in order to transcend my vision. And so I like to create at the piano. I don't always, but that's usually my go-to thing. And I don't get writer's block because I'm not in a moment where I'm trying to tell the piece of work or the art that I'm trying to create what it needs to be. I'm just an enabler. So that alone helps me transcend my ego and transcend my fears, transcend my neediness. Um, and I try to be as accountable as possible, but it's mostly me trying to be either a conduit or just be a good listener
Hmm.
for the spirit of magic. So I find that the more intentionality I have, the better. But as long as I am able to let go,
So
yeah.
how have you wrapped your head around this project that we're doing? So for people that are not familiar, Next Art, which is a nonprofit division of Now Art, is facilitating and creating and never been done before wild project on Valentine's Day called Attune. And you can get information on our Now Art page about the project. And so it is a multi locational uh, you know, exhibition, sound art and light art exhibition, like in, multiple locations throughout the county. And we've been asking artists to create programming for it. So it doesn't have a main stage. Every location is its own main stage and it's playing simultaneously. So how did you wrap your head around that? And like, what is it that you're, hoping to achieve? And what are you facilitating for this?
Um, Forgive me. I sound so cheesy. I guess I am a cheesy person. I'm proud of it though.
You're not
But
cheesy at all.
I I really I try to lean into joy. I think that joy is much more profound than, for instance, like fleeting pleasure or like fleeting happiness. I think joy is connected to sorrow and heartbreak and generational movements. And I try to lean into joy. So I think it's an honor to spend time with another human being, whether it's like this, or in performance. And so for Valentine's Day, this amazing concept that you've come up with, like, I can't acknowledge you, and I will acknowledge you more, but I can't fathom giving you enough acknowledgement for your concept, Carmen. It's so profound, and it's so multi-tiered. But my approach is leaning into joy. So I really mean the things I say. So earlier when I was talking about that, I think everyone intrinsically is the answer or has the answers or everyone's a piece of the puzzle. I really believe that.
Hmm.
And so when we're,
Me
it's
too.
one, thank you. It's one thing to share a project or share music with people in real time, and that's absolutely amazing. And it's another when we ask for their participation. So one thing that's very joyous for me is in the most non-intimidating way possible. There's going to be, because in this 30-minute piece, I'm planning three different sections that won't be very long, roughly 60 to 90 seconds, each of the three iterations. But to have one of the performers at each of these 20 locations um, invite the audience to hum or sing along
Yes.
with the performance. And so, in addition to the performer that's going to be at each of the 20, there's going to be 20 different locations, 20 different performers. I will be one of the 20 different performers. We're also going to be performing along with essentially a backing track of an orchestra of myself that I'm recording here at my home studio here in Arcadia in Los Angeles. An orchestra of myself playing violin, viola, cello, and various color instruments, color percussion instruments. And I think that's a wonderful thing to call upon people in a very in a humble way, in a way that's like easily accessible, because
Hmm.
regardless if we're musically trained or not, easy for me to say, but I'm convinced that we all have a beautiful voice
Hmm.
that transcends, the various judgments that we usually apply to, listening.
Tone
And
and
yeah,
exactly. Hmm.
so there's a way to do it where it's not going to be very difficult, very challenging. There likely will not be text, someone humming or singing a tone, all the audience together. It's going to match a very obvious tone in this backing track that I'm currently composing and recording. Um, and it's going to be presented in a way where not everybody has to feel pressure to hum or sing if they don't want to. But it's fun, and it's um, it's a safe environment to do so. So I think it can be fun to be vulnerable. My hero, one of my many heroes, John Coltrane, said, "It's fun to be serious.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to be cold or dry or rigid." So anyway, that's one of many aspects that I'm planning. So I'm leaning into joy, and I'm just leaning into this philosophical bent that resonates with me, that I've been repeating in this, that I think everyone is the answer. And
Hmm.
so I'm trying to magnify that vibration, that everyone, in my belief, that everyone intrinsically has the seed of health, happiness, appreciation, just these basic qualities. So it's a fun thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm leaning into joy.
That's a beautiful thing to lean into on Valentine's Day, you know? So the project is going to happen between 4:30 and 7:30 in multiple locations. And the idea is for people to bring, their picnic blankets and come and chillax and experience a moment of unification throughout the county,
Mm,
because I think that's a really important thing, is like we have to hear each other, we have to feel each other, and being able to do that across these divides of traffic and whatever other divides that we've been constructing in our society, having art be that moment of joy and unification, I think is what you're creating. I'm so excited for. So well, thank you so much for this conversation, Miguel. Yeah, yeah. I can't wait to, do a touch base with you on where you're at with everything and the project and stuff. And Thank you everybody for joining. And yeah, we'll have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you soon.
Good to see you, Carmen.
Good
Thank
to
you so
see you
much.
too. Bye.